Kelsey. Kelsey Turner, welcome to the Tea Shop. So Kelsey is from Auckland, New Zealand, and also she has parents from Hyderabad, the Hyderabad area, and her mom's an Anglo Indian, and her dad has been living in India for a while. But so it's interesting getting to speak with all these kids, the next generation, just born in different countries, Anglo Indians who have left India, and now so I got to speak with so many different people, and Kelsey's all the way from New Zealand. So my first guest from New Zealand, but also Kelsey is pretty accomplished at the age of 21 already. So I'd love to talk with her about a lot of things. She's Miss Intercontinental New Zealand and 2025. So plenty to talk about that. Plenty to talk about just life and Anglo Indian heritage and culture and all of that. So Kelsey, welcome to the Tea Shop. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you.
Tell me a little bit about you.
Awesome. So hello, I'm Kelsey Joan Turner. I am now 22 years old, and I just recently finished my international pageant in January, as to which I represented New Zealand at Miss Intercontinental. And honestly, if I were to summarise my pageantry journey, it has been a roller coaster ride. I think there's so many things in pageantry that a lot of people don't really think about or really go into, and pageantry tests every single level of beyond the textbook of what people see, and it tests the way you walk, how you speak, how you present yourself, how you dress yourself, and how you interact with the people around you. And I think that's so important because we learn a lot of things in university, in our courses, and just different things. But pageantry is something where you implement these skills into real time, which I think is super important, especially as a woman who is trying to build their confidence and, get them to where they want to be.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. I think everybody starts off with some incorrect definition of pageantry. And then because it's we spend 5 minutes and we just see, and then we make an opinion, a judgment, with most things, right? But the more you look into it, it's more than that. It's so demanding, it is. It is so demanding, and you have to be pretty intelligent. A lot of intelligent people. You have to be pretty smart. It's a full. It's a full experience. How do you treat people like the way you said, right? You cannot be a jerk and qualify in all the other things, right? But you cannot be a jerk. So that's fascinating. Yeah, I'd love to talk about pageantry. I'm going to prep you. I have a fun quiz for you. Again, things about. It has to do with pageantry and a little bit Anglo Indian and New Zealand as well, but we'll get to that part. I'm super excited. I can't wait to get to that part, and I'm very impatient, so I'll try to be patient. Okay, so Kelsey, tell us about, as you know, it's Anglo Indian culture and heritage, and so tell us about your mom and dad. How much do you know about where they're from? Love to know.
So even though both my parents are from Hyderabad, I've learnt a lot, and I've visited India multiple times, and it's been a really great experience learning about the culture as I grow up. I would say moving away from India has definitely been a huge change in terms of keeping your cultural identity and staying true to who you are. And I think the people around you as well in the country that we've moved to can definitely influence you as a person. So I would say I'm more westernized in terms of the way I live and what I do. And it really does raise the question of, do you still continue to, keep your roots back to where you're from? And I think that's very interesting because it just opens your eyes a little bit more to your culture as well.
Yeah. Like I said, I've spoken to your cousin. He's your cousin, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And he also, right, has Anglo Indian parents, but born here. So that's only natural, right? Because if you take any culture, if your parents are from another country, and and that's you're going to hold those roots, right? Because it's if you care about your parents, you're going to care about your roots, right? And it has some meaning.
Yeah.
It makes you right. Your nationality is you're 100% New Zealander, and you're passionate about that country, and that's where you're born. But your roots are still Anglo Indian, you know. So, which part of India did I get it right? Your mom and dad are from Hyderabad.
Yes. So they were brought up in Hyderabad.
Yeah. Do you know? Did your mom ever tell you stories about Hyderabad when she was growing up? Like, what do you know about? Tell us your best
Yes.
memory of Hyderabad.
So from mum and dad have always told me stories of them growing up, and I think that's quite important because when they look back on their journey and then you compare it to, us as children growing up in another country to our journeys, it's so different because they would compare it and they would say, back in our days,
Yeah.
we didn't have all this, and. But I think it's quite special. And when I visited Hyderabad as well, I could definitely see a difference as well in the way everyone live and the food and everything. Like we still eat Indian food as well here at home, and that is something that we won't change. And yeah.
How old were you when you went to Hyderabad
So
the
I've
first
been to
time?
Hyderabad, I think 4 times maybe in total.
Nice,
And I think the last time that I went was for my auntie's wedding, which was
nice.
probably about, I don't know, maybe 6 years or so. So it's been a little
Okay.
while.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh wow. So the last time was 6 years ago. So you've been there
Yeah.
earlier. Um, yeah. What was so first impressions? You land in Hyderabad. I've never been to Hyderabad. I think I've
Yeah.
driven past it.
Yeah.
But was it hot? When did you go? Which part of the year?
So Hyderabad is quite a nice place, and I think it's definitely developed a lot now, and it's really up and running. And I don't know if you know, but you probably do, but last year they held Miss World in Hyderabad for
Really?
the
No
pageant.
way.
Yeah. So I think that's really special because it's nice to have,
Yeah.
India involved with pageantry. And I think in India, pageantry is much bigger than a small country like New Zealand. And they're even going to hold the Miss Grand in India this year as well.
No way.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. So also Kelsey is so mom and dad from India, they moved to New Zealand, but Kelsey also has something unique about her in the sense her sister was her elder sister was born in India. So you're the only foreigner in the family.
Yes.
It is kind of unique, right? Because for me, even I grew up in India, right? But my wife is Caucasian. My kids were born here. It's almost like my kids are foreigners to me, even,
Yeah.
right? Because they speak more American, right? They kind of look a little bit like me, but it's just they happen to be born here, and just they're foreigners in my family, So
Yeah.
it's interesting the way people move around and have children. So born in Auckland, how was it growing up in your family? Where did your mom was it Anglo Indian influence as far as culture, food, or sayings, the way you spoke, even,
Yeah.
and does you have do you call yourself New Zealanders? What do you call yourselves? Kiwis?
Yeah. Kiwis.
Okay, so I'm sure by now your sister and your mom and dad have adopted the accent of the language.
Yeah.
Yeah, so tell me, growing up, what was the culture like in your family?
Yeah. So growing up, we definitely had our values put into place growing up. And honestly, I think that did play a huge role because I think seeing the people around me, I would say, oh, but they don't do this and they don't do that. And I think it really differentiated the difference there for me. And obviously, I was a lot more. You could tell I was of a mixed race growing up as well. So a lot of people would ask me where I'm from, and I'd have to explain,
Hmm.
a bit of history on what Anglo Indian is. And yeah, so it's been definitely a journey growing up, but I've definitely enjoyed being able to, embrace my differences and, give others around me a little bit of insight into the history of, Anglo Indian and where my parents were brought up in Hyderabad.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So I don't know much about New Zealand, but where I live, right? I'm in the southern part of the U.S. and it's a melting pot, but plenty of Mexicans or South Americans here, right? So sometimes. Even when my kids were little, they thought I was Hispanic, or I would get because of my skin tone, I would get put in that category, right? Do people assume you're Maori, or it's totally different in there?
Yeah. So here in New Zealand, the indigenous Maori people were
Yeah,
here first
yeah,
before the Europeans settled down here in New Zealand. So it's quite again culturally mixed
yeah,
country. We have a lot of people moving here to New Zealand, so it's quite nice to have that cultural diversity here and being able to embrace our differences and share with each other stories where we're from, and being able to, come together as a community and work together and, just celebrate.
yeah, yeah. So, what's the most Anglo-Indian thing you do? Eh, Yeah, like for one, right? Do you have other Anglo-Indian families nearby? Like, because Anglo-Indian, if I've said this to you in the previous podcast as well. Anglo-Indians are like hobbits. They like to do the simple things. They like to eat. They
Yeah,
like to have
dance.
a good
Yeah,
time, dance, and there's a dance party at random times in the house, or they're
yeah.
going to a dance, right? So, did you grow up with that kind of culture, or is it totally, or is that New
Uh,
Zealand in general? I don't know.
To be honest, it felt quite isolating here in New Zealand because it was just my immediate family here. The rest of my family is living all over the world. So it's been hard not growing up with other family members around us, and I would have loved to experience that. But in terms of the Anglo Indian community here in New Zealand, I would say it is quite small. There's not that many Anglo Indians here, so we haven't really been involved in many, parties or New Year's dances and things like that. And I think, yeah, it would have
Yeah,
been nice to experience that, but it's okay.
yeah,
I think there's different ways we can do that, and you make friends and you sort of do
yeah.
other things with them.
Yeah, I know what you mean, because
Yeah,
where I live, I think I only know one other Anglo Indian, and she's like 2 hours away. But you go to Texas, and so my kids, right? They don't grow up. I'm the only Anglo Indian they know, and I'm not the best one. But you go to Texas, right? There's a whole community of Anglo Indians. So if
yeah,
you're a kid born in the States, you're still growing up with an Anglo Indian culture, because there's so many other people who talk with the Anglo Indian style, or just have the culture. They dance and they right ad hoc parties and stuff. So it's a little easier. And my kids are totally isolated. They're probably like you. They don't know another Anglo Indian till they go to India. You know, uh,
yeah.
but they love it, my kids. So do you eat? Could you handle spicy food?
Yes, I love spicy food.
Nice. What's your favorite? Yeah, what's your favorite food that you must have when you go to India?
Honestly, I'm quite a simple girl, and honestly, I love my puris. And with puris, I'm quite different. Instead of having it with the potato, I love puris with sambar.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
you can't go wrong. Yeah. Yeah. Hyderabad. Have you ever had Hyderabad biryani? You had to
yes,
have it. Nice. Yes. Yeah,
delicious. Yeah,
my daughter fell in love. We haven't been to Hyderabad, but in all over India, you get like Hyderabad biryani, and she fell in love with it, and she can't get enough. Awesome. Awesome. So how many languages do you speak?
sorry, it's cutting
Do
off a
you
little bit.
do you speak more than one language?
Yes. So I've learnt different languages in throughout my high school experience, but my main language is just English. And the funny thing is, I never really picked up any, other Indian languages like Hindi or Telugu or anything like that. But my parents can speak, different languages, and if they don't want us to know something, they would say something in the language that they'd speak with each other. So I think that's quite interesting.
That's hilarious. So you pick up only another language, but you only know a conversation that happened between your mom and dad. Very, very limited
Yes.
language. I know Telugu, but it's only my mom and dad knows the story behind these two words.
Yeah.
That's fun. That's funny. Um, so um how long has your mom and dad been in New Zealand?
They've been in New Zealand for over 29 years,
Okay.
so quite a while here. So my
Okay.
sister, when she was born in India, they moved together as a family when she was only 16 months. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. 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 So she probably speaks just like you, and
Yeah, she
she.
does.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. So do you Christmas time? Does your mom still make like Anglo Indian sweets and stuff like that?
Yes. So
Nice. What?
we do have a few dishes and some sweets as well, and sometimes we also have some of the Western food as well. We mix it up just so we can have different options on Christmas Day, New Year's Day, or
Yeah.
any other celebrations.
Yeah. For sure. For sure. So tell me, Kelsey, what's the motivation? When did you first even get an interest into pageantry? Or I know maybe you saw that and you said like, okay, that's my goal. I want to win the top thing. Or did you fall into it and then discover and then slowly built up and had your goals? Because I know you're very goal driven. And if you haven't mentioned it before, you're working on your master's and you're also working to be
Yes.
a trainer to help other people hit their goals. And clearly you've achieved goals very few people get to hit in their lifetime, right? So tell me about that journey. How did you get into pageantry?
So it's a bit of an interesting story. So I always wanted to do pageantry throughout my high school. I was never really into it, but I wanted to do it simply because I wanted to build my confidence. And I knew that was something that was way out of my comfort zone. And in order to achieve that, I had to at least sign up and then just let whatever happen in the journey that I wanted to do. So it was about 3 years ago that I wanted to do pageantry. And then I finally applied after I finished my undergrad degree at Auckland University of Technology. And once I graduated, that was my sort of reward to myself to sort of, get myself out of my comfort zone. And I signed up, and then we went through a selection process, and I said to myself, if I get into this sort of national level of pageantry, then I'll continue and I'll give it my best shot. Because anything that I put my mind to, I always make sure I put in 100%. And yeah, so once I got into that, it was about 6 months before the final night. And I just gave everything. And I even hired a Pasarela trainer to help me walk as well. It's quite a new thing that is, it just takes you way out of your comfort zone. I've always been a very shy, reserved person. So from someone who's quite shy to going up on a stage, it's a huge, sort of thing for me. So I did everything I could to prepare for it. I even did debating as well to prepare for that. And we had a lot of events throughout that entire time. And I think it went so fast because of how busy our schedules were. But yeah, I really enjoyed the whole process of it.
To me, is that normal from a decision to winning it like 3 years?
Pardon me?
Is that normal for somebody to make a decision like I want to do this and then win the title within 3 years? That's such a short span.
Too sure about that. But I think if you have a goal and that's what you want to do, that's what you need to, put your mind to, and then just give it your best shot, and then, leave the rest up to whatever happens.
Yeah. I assumed you were going to tell me a story like how you as a little girl got into pageants and you had a long history of that. But like from decision to winning in 3 years is, I don't think that's pretty common. I don't know, as an outsider. Well, if you don't look at pageantry anyway, right? If you look at anything to being the best in that, 3 years is a pretty short time.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, I think it's quite important because I think a lot of girls put a lot of effort into this, and there is, of course, as you know, there's a lot of politics in pageantry as well. At the end of the day, pageantry is a business as well, and it's just about how you see things and how you develop as a person. Like, if I were to go back and do pageantry again, I would definitely do it within a heartbeat, because of how much I've learned and how much I grew as a person, and way beyond of what I would have done if I was doing a university degree or anything like that, because I'm implementing these skills in real life contexts.
Yeah. Would you do it? Would you consider it?
To do another pageant again?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe we'll see. But
Okay. Yeah.
but yeah, as I said, there's a business aspect to things involved with pageantry. So if maybe I was able to do it in another country, then maybe I'd consider it.
Nice. Do you
Yeah.
think yourself as an introvert or extrovert or mix 50-50?
It's a hard one. I would say before pageantry, I would definitely have been an introvert. But then after I got into pageantry, I would say I'm kind of a in between, because it sort of, developed my skills to a point where I was able to talk to people, whereas before I would have hid behind someone or escaped that situation. So yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. The confidence. So something that you said, I think it's great for young kids to hear, young girls, like that when you decided, you gave it your everything. And I think that's part of hitting your goal, right? A testament to you hitting your goal in 3 years, like when I coach my daughter's football team, or soccer as we call it here, right? And I tell them, when you practice at 100%,
Yes.
because if you practice and you're only practicing at a 30%, you'll be a great 30% when it comes
Yeah.
up, right? You cannot manufacture. Yes, magic happens in the moment, but you have to prepare, and even practice needs to be like if you were walking, right, like practicing your walk, you weren't like doing a 50% attempt. You were probably walking like it was, the lights were on, it was showtime, 100% practice, right?
Yes.
Right. So if you go in with that preparation, so tell me about that drive. Was that like did you grow up in an environment where you were always pushed and to seek and to work hard at something? And how did you get that drive?
Yes, I would say both my parents encouraged me to always, push and strive for more than what they were given as children. So I think just me wanting to make them proud at anything that I did, whether it be through my education or awards through different groups or events or anything like that, I would just want to make them proud. And not only just that, but also be better for myself. I feel like every single day, each and every one of us can be 1%, if you're at least 1% better than yesterday, that is not a waste of time, and you're still moving ahead and you're still improving as a person. And I think that's also another important aspect as well that a lot of people need to see. I think there's a lot of pressure that could be put on children from a very young age, but I think when they come off age, they see that it's only because their parents want the best for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did it
And
feel? Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, that's all right. I was just going to say, for the performance side of things in pageantry, I would say that drive that I had, I think when you're really interested in something or a goal, you just automatically sort of, portray those skills that you need and do what it takes to get to that point. For example, in Pasarela training, I would train very hard with my coach, and she would be hard on me, not because of, being rude or anything, but she just wanted me to be able to reach my goals before the final night. And even when I went internationally, we increased the training time and we made sure I ate the right foods to look more physically ready for the stage as well. And when going out on the stage, you feel that adrenaline rush as well. So that's how you know, like, this is what you want to do and this is what you want to showcase to the audience, that this is who I am and I'm here to represent New Zealand or
It's
whatever
amazing.
country it may be.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
So how did it feel? I know you said you were kind of, before pageantry, you were kind of an introvert, but as you were getting into it, right? How did it feel the first time you were on a stage looking at like thousands of people and knowing it's also being broadcast to probably who knows how many people, right? Do
Yeah.
you think about these things, or how did it feel?
To be honest with you, the first time they went up on stage after, preparing to get to that point, I would say I couldn't see the audience. The lights were quite blinding, so I couldn't see
Yeah.
anything, which is probably a good thing. But yeah, it was great, and you could hear the audience cheering. So I think it's very important to have, like, set your mindset up in terms of, you're showcasing your practice and everything that you've prepared for, and to be able to switch that mindset from, oh, everyone's looking at me. You know what I mean? So
Interesting.
it's just like you need to just be yourself and not worry about what other people may think about you. And yeah, I think it took me a while to get to that point to think like that. But once you achieve that and unlock that mindset, then I think anyone will be able to succeed in anything that they do.
Were you disciplined, or were you pretty disciplined even before pageantry? Like, how were you in school?
At school, I would say I was more academically focused, and I was, again, like I said, I was quite shy, so I never really got involved in that many events and things like that. I was involved in a couple of sports and things like that, but other than that, I think it was never as much as what I would have got out of pageantry.
Yeah, it seemed it's a lot of work, right? So was that
Yes.
almost like a full-time, that was your focus, that was your life for like 3 years, at least 90% of your time was pageantry stuff?
I would say so. Pageantry for me started last year, and I would say, so like I said, after I finished my degree, had a bit of time. So I was working full time as well at an early childhood centre to get more experience for my master's. So I did that. So because I had a gap in my studies, I decided this is the perfect time for me to unlock and go into something that I've always wanted to do. And I think that was just the perfect timing for me. And yeah.
So that 1 year was just jam-packed. That was your focus,
It was very
100%.
busy. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's why the year went by so fast. But I think all it takes is 1 year for you to change.
How did it feel when they called? How did they announce a winner? Did they just announce your name on stage? And how did it
Yeah.
feel? What's that feeling like?
So we had different titles, and for me, I got the Miss Intercontinental title. And honestly, I think, again, I never really expected a national level also to have a bit of politics. But sometimes when you work really, really hard for something, it's not reflecting on who you are as a person. You just need to be resilient and be able to, accept the results and the outcome. But for me, I felt very accomplished to be able to reach the level within the top 3 of us girls getting the titles. And and I really appreciated that. And I think the hard work does pay off to a certain extent. And either way, even if I didn't place or didn't get a title, I would still be pretty proud of myself because of how much I've grown as a person. Even if the judges or the organization didn't see that, I would still be very proud of myself.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, I think what a great experience at such a young age, because I still look back. I did not win anything like that, but I still look back at moments of my life where I worked hard. I had something to accomplish. I worked really
Yeah.
hard at something that I was failing at before, but I decided I'm going to put in the time. I work hard and saw the result, and it still motivates me,
Yeah.
at a small level. So it's really important to see the type of person you are. Am I the type of a person who can work hard and do something? Yes, I have proof. I'm that type of a person, so I still look back at things when I need it. Am I that person? Is that my character? And having that in your back pocket, to if you ever face something and you say like, the master's degree is just, it's too difficult. Guess what,
Yeah.
Kelsey? I think you're capable, right? So what a great thing. So where was the finals? Was it in New Zealand? The
Yeah, so
Intercontinental?
for our national
Okay.
pageant, our finals was here in New Zealand at Sky City Theatre.
Mm.
So it was quite a nice one here. And then after that, after we were given our titles, we each went to different countries to compete in the titles we were crowned in. So there was Miss International, where she went and competed in Japan, and then there was Miss Super International, where she would have competed in Poland, and then for me it was Miss Intercontinental in Egypt. And and I really enjoyed Egypt. It was a wonderful country, and I think out of the 2 pageants that I competed in, I would have definitely preferred the international pageant, because coming together with countries all over the world, it really opens up your eyes to all the different cultures and, being able to celebrate with them, different events and things like that.
Yeah. How did it feel when you got back home and to normal life after everything was done, hanging out with your friends as just a normal Kelsey, right? What was that adjustment like?
That's a great question. Honestly, I felt very burnt out. I had like this sort of pageant crash where I knew that there wasn't going to be any more pageants for a while or something like that. But yeah, I think the burnout really got to me. And I gave myself a couple of months to, recover and, go through all of I had about 4 suitcases that I took with me. So I had a lot of outfits with me. So I organized that and I started renting them out to the girls who are doing pageants this year. And, just sort of, reflecting and, accepting everything that happened. I think everything was so fast paced for about a year and a half that I sort of forgot to slow down and forgot to, look around me and, be present. So I think, it helped me sort of, stay grounded as who I am and, take those skills away that I have been able to build myself up to and put it into my masters and my other courses. And, going back to that was a little bit sad, but I think, life goes on and we can take these experiences with us and help those around us.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause nobody thinks about that. You just see the glamorous side of things. Everybody sees the shiny part. Everybody sees the tip of the iceberg. Nobody sees the sacrifice. And then what happens after that? You just go home because it's a 1 year of just insane dedication. Before we move on, what is Passarella?
Passarella is a form of walking. It's stage presence and the way you sort of present yourself as well to the audience and the judges. Passarella can be in different forms. So when you do a national costume walk, there's a certain walk you would do. So for example, when I went internationally and I competed there, I represented a woman named Kate Shepherd, who was the first woman to allow women the right to vote here in New Zealand. So I thought it was and I was one of the first contestants to have ever represented her. She's also on our $10 note here in New Zealand. And so being able to represent a woman who is, very influential for all the young women here in New Zealand. I felt like I carried a piece of her with me, representing on the national stage. And then another form of walk is bikini wear, which is where it's a more sort of jazzy style of walk. So all these different forms of walk sort of prepare us for sort of different stage presence. And also with evening wear is, poise, elegance, and the way you carry yourself and, your facial expressions, all of that is involved in Passarella. So, just getting you stage ready and, having a certain walk as well on the stage is also quite important. So you are able to showcase that you're ready and you can carry yourself well.
Interesting. Wow. So I did not know that. So judges obviously are looking at that level of detail.
Yes.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Do you find yourself employing those tactics in your daily life? Like depending on the situation?
In terms of walking, not so much because it's more of a performative sort of, style. But in terms of the speaking and the Q&A section and also the interview, just being able to have a general conversation with someone, I think I have been able to implement really well. And I'm still developing. There's always room for improvement. And yeah.
Do you did people obviously your neighborhood who knows who you are, but do you get recognized at the grocery store? How does that work for you?
So it's quite a small community here in terms of who's interested in pageantry. And I would say, yeah, I do sometimes. And I think a lot of people who have seen me as a little girl to now, they would say, wow, you have really developed into, a nice young woman now. And I think that's quite nice to hear back that feedback and seeing people, say that as well, and seeing you grow up from a little child to a young woman it's quite nice.
It's nice. So do you guys, I think you guys refer to yourself as North Island, South Island, right? Is that how you, right?
Yeah.
So where is Auckland? Is it north or south?
It's north, so North Island. Yeah.
What is Auckland famous for other than Kelsey Turner?
Auckland is famous for a few things. It's not the capital because that would be Wellington, but Auckland is famous for, I would say, some of their food. because fish and chips is one of the icon foods here in New Zealand. And yeah, there's a lot of amazing landscapes and amazing
Love
beaches
it.
here. And it's, it's amazing, like, to be able to walk out into that environment and remind yourself that you're in such a beautiful country. And a lot of the people that do come here to New Zealand say that the air and, the fresh air here feels just so fresh and, it recharges their soul. It just feels so pure here as well. I wouldn't say there's any pollution or anything like that here in New Zealand. So it's quite nice growing up in a clean, fresh environment here.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, it's one of my top countries. I love it because I love the mountains. Are you a mountain or a beach person?
Say I'm more of a beach person, but I wouldn't mind a hike up a mountain here.
Yeah, I love the mountains. And I watched Lord of the Rings, and I know a lot of it was shot in New Zealand. And I love the mountains. I would give up the beach. I just moved to the mountains and live like a wild man. What are some misconceptions of pageantry?
I would say thinking that when you put in hard work, like the more hard work that you put in, that you're going to win. I think that's also a misconception. And I think another one would be as well, looking a certain body type or being a certain person, like that you think the most confident person in the room is going to win a title or something like that, but it's not about that. It's about how you are able to work well with the organization and how well you're able to interact with those around you and being able, almost having the full package in a way, but working towards all these different skills and also working with your community. Working with your community is very important. So having a charity that you're working towards and raising money and supporting them throughout that journey, whether it be cancer, whether it be a group like Canine Pet Therapy, just anything like that where you're for the community and not just for yourself.
Is that a criteria for even being accepted, or you can be accepted?
No.
Okay.
No, because when we start the pageantry journey, they'll tell us what cause we all have to support or what cause we can choose, or perhaps we can choose one ourselves. They implement the idea that it's important to also work for the community and be a voice for those who have been silenced.
Amazing. And what did you choose?
So for us, we had 3 charities that we were able to choose from, and I was very fortunate enough to choose all 3. I chose the Canine Pet Therapy, I chose the number 3 Squadron Auckland City, and I also chose the trying to think what the other one was. It was the Girls Brigade group. Yeah, it's quite a few of them, but so I raised money I hosted my own charity event, and I had about over 100 people come and attend, and I held it in Mission Bay, just opposite a beautiful beach, and it was a really good turnout, and I was fortunate enough to be able to also be titled Miss Charity Queen. I raised about 8,253, I believe, and again, it's just all for the people and being able to hold something very close to my heart. And I was able to get one of the some of the charity people to come out to the event and talk about their charity and why they do what they do for the people.
It's fascinating. So, Kelsey, I'm going to ask you a random question. It's okay if you don't know the answer. What do you think Anglo Indian? What do you think is the definition of Anglo Indian?
The definition of Anglo Indian?
Yeah.
I would say so. The British settlers came into India, and I think that's how, the widespread of, different cultures came to be. And that's how I see it. And just being a culturally mixed descendant.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's, because even I thought it was, initially I thought it was just specifically British, but after starting this podcast, spoken with a lot of historians, and it's pretty much any European, because in India, right? If you grew up an Anglo Indian in India, you'll know by names if somebody is from which part of India, if they're from Goa, and normally, previously we would not think of them as Anglo Indian because they have more of a Portuguese influence, you know.
Yeah.
But the definition apparently I found out is if they're European, they're all Anglo Indians. So
Yes.
learning, that's amazing.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, when I say, "Oh, I'm Anglo Indian," they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, what's that? Is that just Indian?" Like they would just think it's just Indian, but it's quite a mix that comes along with that. And I think growing up as well, because I'm quite mixed, a lot of people guess all sort of ethnicities. Like they'll say, "Are you Filipina? Or are you a Spanish? Are you this? Are you that?" So it can get a little bit difficult sometimes in having to explain my cultural heritage to everyone that asks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How far are you away from your mom? Speaking of pageantry, I think another second to pageantry, one of the most difficult things is doing your masters, I think.
Yes.
Right. How's that
agree.
going?
I think when my People's Choice came out, it was going all over because we were sending the link to everyone to comment and like and, support that sort of People's Choice. A lot of people would say like, "Oh, is she from the Philippines?" Or, "Is she from here? Is she from there?" And then when I went, there was a post done for me on the Anglo Indian Society page, and they said, "Oh, she doesn't look Anglo Indian," or "She's Indian," or "She's Anglo Indian." Yeah. So there's a lot of misconception there, but it's just about just staying true to who you are. Like you can't change how you look, and there's nothing like that. It's just about again being true to who you are.
Yeah, there's there's a lot of, like, ever since I started doing this, right? And I'm speaking with kids, who were born here, people debate like, are they Anglo Indian or not? And there's such the gatekeeping Anglo Indian definition, relax, man, it's okay. Yeah, I mean, you're qualified, right? You have an Anglo Indian. Even if your great grandparent was Anglo Indian, and like people will go insane and they will say like, yeah, I'm like 5% German, I'm 1% Spanish, right? If you can do that, you can say like, yeah, I'm like 50% Anglo Indian. That qualifies, you know.
Yeah, because I did my DNA test as well. My auntie, I did it in the US, and I also did one here in New Zealand with Ancestry, and I think the results were very similar, so it's safe to say that it was quite reliable, but it did come up with all these different groups and different, countries and things like that, but I wouldn't go around being like, I'm 5% this, 2% that. I think that's too complicated.
If I did that and my math is off, I'll be like 95% human, and I don't know what the rest. I did not add it up accurately. So have you been to the US?
Yes, I have. So recently I went, I think about 3 or 4 years ago, I went and visited my lovely aunt in Texas, and my cousins Andrew and Catherine there. And it was such a lovely experience. I really enjoyed the US, and I think it also opened up my eyes to like a different way of living in the US. And I really liked how community and family focused Texas was. And I went to Dallas, and I really enjoyed that trip there. And yeah, I was absolutely spoilt by my auntie there.
Of course.
And I was there for about a month, I think. And we also went to New York City, and seeing the difference between the different states as well. I think New York City for me was quite overhyped and quite a busy sort of rush and go lifestyle. So yeah, very fast-paced life over there. And I was just very grateful to be able to travel there on my own and visit my aunt and my cousins and my uncle there. So yeah.
Nice. Did you say by yourself?
Yes, I traveled here from New Zealand straight to Dallas. There was a direct flight. And that was amazing. Yeah.
How long is that flight? Like 15 hours?
I believe that flight was around 13 or 15 hours, roughly, but they were having a promotion where the American Airlines was doing like a direct flight during the holidays straight to America. Yeah.
That's as far as you can get, I think, right?
Yeah. I think the longest flight that I've had was when I was doing my international pageant when I went from here to Dubai. That was about 17 hours, I believe.
I'm just going to ask you a bunch of questions. I have 10 questions for you, okay?
Oh, yeah.
So I just Googled up, right? I'm not sure if you've seen the YouTube series like somebody answers the internet's most searched questions, right? So I looked up the internet's most searched question. This is what people. These are not my questions. This is what shows up in Google, right? It says like, what does Miss Intercontinental New Zealand look like? And the answer is like this, like you, right?
So, how Miss Intercontinental looks like for me is just being your authentic self, and again, being true to yourself and being a voice for the community, and just, being able to hold yourself well. And I think being able to segregate and differentiate the difference between a title and who you are as a person. Like, I'm Kelsey, but this is just an added title, an added bonus to helping the community and representing, like a whole community who may need help.
Yeah. Okay, next question. You ready? What does Miss Intercontinental New Zealand do?
Miss Intercontinental just does things that are not too outside of the scope of things. It's just being, again, who you are, and showing up for those who, again, need help, and being the voice for the voiceless.
Here's an interesting one. What does Miss Intercontinental New Zealand get paid? Millions of dollars, right?
Say I got paid anything. I've done everything out of the goodness of my heart, and because coming from New Zealand and pageantry not being so big here, I had to fund and pay for everything myself. But if you did win overseas, I do believe you do get a certain amount, and after you win the title for Miss Intercontinental, you just need to, be able to have a good platform and influence the younger generation to also, inspire them to be the best version of themselves.
That's insane that you have to pay. Wow, that's a lot, right? So, man,
Yeah.
That's insane. What do pageants teach you?
In terms of what pageantry taught me is to, being able to take the opportunities that come your way and fulfill them, and live them up to not a higher standard, but just being able to take the opportunities as they come and be true to yourself and allow yourself to grow and not stay comfortable, but allow the challenges to take you further than you would ever imagine.
Here's a fun one. Why do pageants exist even?
Pageantry, there's a lot of stigma around pageantry in terms of why they exist. I think if you went back maybe 50 years ago, pageantry would have been different. So it's important to see how the evolution of pageantry has developed over time. And I think pageantry exists because it provides women a platform to be much greater than themselves, to allow them to evolve as a woman and to prove to other people that, not just prove, but to show other people how women are capable of doing so much more than what the human eye sees.
100%. Here's a question. I'm not sure if it's true, but it's a question people punch into Google, right? Is it true that why can't pageant contestants be married? Is that true even? Can you be married, or do you have to be unmarried?
So there's a lot of controversy around that as well. I would say, so Miss Universe has just recently come out with a statement saying that you can now be married and have children in pageantry. Whereas for other titles, they haven't quite yet evolved around that sort of change. And I think the reason why they've changed that in Miss Universe to allow them to be married and have kids is that it doesn't stop when you get married. Being who you are as a person doesn't stop when you get married or have children or when you experience changes in your life. They want to encourage women to keep chasing their dreams, to keep chasing their goals without stigma of being a mother or having children.
Awesome. So switching to New Zealand specific questions, right? I think we got 3 more. What is New Zealand known for?
New Zealand is known for, I would say, their landscape, food, beaches, and also the people here. When a lot of people come and visit New Zealand, they would say, wow, it's quite, you guys are all friendly here. Like, you all say hi to each other, you say good morning. Like, we always have a conversation. And I would say, as well, like, road trips have been extremely popular here, and it depends where you go in New Zealand. There's always a hidden gem that a lot of people don't seem to see as much on social media or on YouTube or anything like that.
What do people in New Zealand eat?
Oh, that's an interesting one. Again, because we're all culturally diverse and we all come from different backgrounds, we eat all sorts of foods and we celebrate all the different cultures. And here in New Zealand, if I were to pick one that was quite popular, I would say a lot of New Zealanders love their fish and chips. They love their burgers. They love their pavlova. Pavlova is a dessert that a lot of Kiwis have, especially around Christmas. It's sort of like a cake, and you have fruit on top, and you can have like sort of different toppings as well.
Interesting. I like it.
Yeah.
How do people in New Zealand greet each other?
We can say kia ora, which means hello. Or we just say hello, and yeah. So there's a lot of we've been learning new Māori, like integrating Māori as a language in high schools and primary schools here in New Zealand, and as well as ECE centres. We want children to be able to connect with the Indigenous side of languages. So it's now evolving, I would say, which is great. So you can learn. So a lot of us can learn where we come from here in New Zealand.
Last question.
Yeah.
At least this is what the people in the US think about New Zealand, right? Why do people in New Zealand not wear shoes? Is that true? Is that a thing even?
I do think a lot of the Kiwis who are brought up here don't wear shoes simply because they like to feel grounded. So when you feel grass on your feet or, just the road, it just feels more present and they feel more connected with the surroundings around them. And I would say it's more popular during summer because it's so hot that, you don't want to wear any shoes.
Yeah. Kelsey, when you get you enunciate so well, you're like the opposite of me, and you speak so well. You're well spoken. Clearly, right? You had to speak in front of people. When you get mad and you're arguing, is it easy for you to win? And you also debated. I feel like if you argued with somebody, you'd win almost all the time because you're so calm, you make your point, and you know how to debate, and you're so well spoken. Do you find yourself? How do you speak when you're? Are you still so well spoken even when you get mad or you're excited about something? A random question.
I think we all have a different sort of side to ourselves, but I think I'm not too sure. I haven't really been in any recent arguments, anything like that. But if I was really upset, I would probably just get to the point and say how I feel. And I think, just carrying yourself is also quite important because, getting angry or getting mad at the situation isn't going to solve anything. Yeah. It's just going to escalate the issue.
Yeah, because I don't know if you can be mad at someone who's just so speaking so well. I mean, I just stop and be impressed. Wait a minute, she's making a lot of sense. That's fascinating. So Kelsey, how much more do you have on your master's? And tell us about that. Yeah,
sure. Yeah. So I've just started my master's this year, and it's about a 2-year course. And after I finish my master's, I will do a 1-year licensing where I will go into practices and then become a registered license in the New Zealand board here. And my masters are quite similar to my undergrad degree. The only thing is we don't have any exams or anything in my masters. It's all assessment based. And we learn about children's environmental factors. We learn about how children are getting affected through using devices at a very early age, and children using devices at a very early age is actually impacting their learning as they're growing up. And it's not the cause of children being exposed to devices. It's more so, I would say, parents they observe what their parents are doing and they think, oh, okay, I've seen mum and dad do this, and I can also be on my device. And what we also discover and unpack throughout my masters is the way how children are being exposed to quick dopamine on the screen, and how when they go to a education-based facility, they are then searching for this quick dopamine where they are not able to receive, because in educational setting it's more quiet and it's more structured and based on what they're learning, and it's all timed. Whereas if you had a screen and you're watching a movie, things flash so fast on the screen that, it can really affect their developmental learning and their skills.
Yeah.
So that's what we learn in my master's.
It's in psychology, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's fascinating. I think about that a lot, because my kids are a little older now, but I did not raise them with unfettered. They only had, when they got older and they got a device, it was you get 1 hour per day, and
Yes.
and if you wanted to earn more time, you would have to go do a chore or come up with how you got to earn it. You got to earn an extra hour, but the max you could get is 2 hours. But
Yes.
I found that it affects me even. Right. When I'm working all day long and I'm using AI and everything is instant, it's super serving me. And at the end of my day, I'm impatient with people if I don't get instant answers,
Yes.
so because
Yeah.
my whole day is spent just getting instant answers and just being efficient and when you're dealing with another human, you come back and your brain is like, why am I not getting instant answers,
Yeah.
So I imagine that on a child being formed that way,
Yeah.
it's insane.
Yeah.
So what's your plans? Is that what you want to work with kids and in the future?
Yeah, so I after my master's and my licensing, being registered as a psychologist, I would hope to be an educational and developmental psychologist. So I would work in schools and I'd help children who need that extra bit of help and guidance, and I'd work with their families and give them strategies on how their child can reach their goals on whatever year level it is that they're on, and just different strategies for them to be able to develop into the best self.
Yeah. Awesome. Last question for you, Kelsey. Tell me, help me, like, if you were starting on a new project today, right? How do you what's some good habits that you could share that you've seen success with, that you've been intentional with? It could be like just meditating or praying in the morning or music. What's some good, healthy habits to help someone who has something they want to accomplish? What's good habits to take them from point A to point B?
Yeah. So I'd say some really key healthy habits would be to, again, remain very grounded in yourself and stay true to your values and your goals. And in order to do that, you need to be very disciplined. You need to be able to have good self-control and being able to organize and structure your time well. Time is going to pass by anyway, so we might as well, plan our time accordingly and being able to achieve goals that we need to within a certain time frame. So chipping away at it slowly, but still getting to the end goal, but not giving up your social life or anything like that, because that's very important to be able to have a balance between the two. Because if you're so focused on one thing, a lot of the other things tend to get neglected. So being able to have a balance between everything in your life and being able to, again, structure and organize your time well, time management, and making what is possible get done in a certain way. And I would say that's quite important and key values to have. Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, Kelsey, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I know it's the start of your day and you're in the future. Yeah. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much for speaking with me.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciated it. And I'd never really thought about any of the questions that you've asked, so it's quite interesting to be able to unpack that. And yeah, it was good. Thank you for that.
Yeah.